sensitivity pain fast with Sensodyne Rapid Action for clinically proven relief in 60 seconds.
It is important to note that proper waste management is an essential public duty in the fight against COVID-19. As NEMA, we've developed a robust national guidelines on safe handling and disposal of this waste. We need to be responsible as citizens of this country to ensure that we do not mix household domestic waste with other hazardous waste. Used gloves, masks should be treated essentially as hazardous waste.
NEMA, mazingira yetu, uhai wetu, wajibu wetu.
Nuclear Power and Energy Agency, NUPEA, mandate entails development of nuclear power program for electricity generation in Kenya, carrying out research for development of energy technologies and capacity building for the energy sector.
We at NUPEA joined the country in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. We urge our employees to strictly follow guidelines as provided by the government, maintain social distance, and undertake hygiene practices such as hand washing with soap and running water or use of sanitizer, as well as wearing the mask at all the time when in public, including the office. And I urge you to stay safe, fellow Kenyans.
Niko sawa. Ni venye nimetoka clinic na baba Brenda.
Mume wako anakubali mwende hospitali pamoja? Wangu hata nimlipe, hauwezi kubali.
Ilibidi twende na yeye, nipimwe. Yeye hapimwe. Kama kuna HIV, nipewe dawa ndio mtoto asipate HIV.
Wanaume wenzangu, kuandamana na mama akienda clinic na pia kujua hali yako ya HIV ni muhimu. Inaonyesha unamjali na pia unajali mtoto wako mtarajio. Je, unajijua?
Unapoendelea kujikinga kutokana na HIV, tafadhali zingatia taratibu zote za serikali za kujikinga na virusi vya korona.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Kenya, like other countries in the world, is faced with an unprecedented crisis as a result of COVID-19 pandemic.
Kenyan is the leading electricity producer in the East African region. Currently, we generate a total of 1,803 megawatts drawn from hydro, geothermal, wind, and thermal. In response to the coronavirus pandemic, we have deployed mechanisms to ensure electricity generation continues uninterrupted during this period of uncertainty. We come to work for you to ensure you have reliable electricity supply even during these hard times.
This is where you belong. Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optivan. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions such as Maram roads, electricity, solar street lighting, water, 24/7 security, and trees planted in every plot. Victory Gardens is close to high-end international schools, banks, shopping malls, hospitals, and much more. This is a masterpiece project. Invest in value. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke. Optivan, celebrating 20 years of serving you. Experience the difference.
More than ever, a clean bathroom is important to ensuring the safety of yourself and your family, as this is the first room we visit to wash up after coming from outside. Ace Bathroom Cleaner is a powerful antibacterial limescale remover for all your sinks, tiles and bathroom surfaces. Ace Bathroom Cleaner strips away grime and soap scum on all bathroom surfaces, brightens your bathroom surfaces without leaving any residue, kills and prevents the growth of germs. Ace, we make your home feel brand new.
This is NTV.
Welcome to NTV Tonight. For the second consecutive week, Team Coverage Wednesday is focusing on the culture of sexual abuse and violence breeding in our communities. Tonight, we focus on the weaknesses in the law and our society as a whole that may be aiding and abetting sexual offenders. Once again, we'd like to warn you that you may find some victim accounts too difficult to bear, so viewer discretion is advised. But this is a matter that deserves our full attention, for it is only when we talk that we find solutions to the challenges we face. The top stories tonight.
Tonight, DPP Nuruddin Haji says Babu Wino cannot be arrested over DJ Evolve's shooting, but offers options in the search for justice.
His constituents, if they are aggrieved, they can seek for his removal. They have that option.
All eyes on the judiciary. The ball is in its court. Also tonight, positive here, negative there, questions everywhere. Queries on differing COVID-19 test results.
Would the result be influenced by any outside forces by any chance?
Nobody influences our results anywhere.
Is it possible that anything could have gone wrong along those lines?
Kenya records highest number of infections in a day. And doctors have advised government.
The peak is likely to come in September, and by the grace of God, perhaps taper down around January.
Schools unlikely to reopen this year as a cloud hangs over the economy. Plus, legal and cultural gaps that may be aiding sexual abuse.
I would really plead to our judiciary system. If you have been mentioned for defilement, you are not supposed to be given a bail until your case is heard.
Kuna wazee wanakalia tangu juzi, jana, hata leo kuhusu wanataka kufanya kienyeji, wamalize hii kesi nje ya mahakama.
Unhealed wounds from the heinous acts of predators.
Our sign language interpreter tonight is David Agondoa. Now let's bring out the team on Team Coverage tonight. Live from Kisumu is our Lake Region reporter Uko Kusa. In Nyeri Town is Melita Ole Tenges. And joining us from home is our science and technology editor Zainab Wandati. Also with me in studio tonight are Charity Mwangi and Anita Nkonge. That's Team Coverage in a bit. But first, the global coronavirus numbers. Not much to smile about there. We have 10 million 1,633,048 confirmed infections globally. That number is escalating quickly towards 11 million. In terms of recoveries, we have 5,837,000 plus, and the number of deaths stand at 515,202. Let's take a look at the numbers as far as the continent is concerned, and we have 408,736 confirmed infections. The number of recoveries stands at 196,027. The number of deaths, unfortunately, stand at 10,204 too many as far as we are concerned. As far as the US of A is concerned, we have 2,731,815 confirmed infections. The number of recoveries stands at 1,143,923, and the deaths in that nation stand at 130,174. COVID-19 informs our top story tonight, and the Ministry of Health says it will take decisive action against Lancet Labs should it establish instances of neglect that led to alleged erroneous COVID-19 test results. Lancet Group Managing Director Dr. Ahmed Kalebi, who earlier on appeared before the National Assembly's Health Committee, defended the lab's COVID-19 testing procedures despite relaying different results from the National Influenza Center in a recent case. NTV's Seth Olale followed those proceedings at Parliament's building.
Honorable.
The National Assembly Committee on Health, chaired by Muranga Woman Rep Sabina Chege, sought to seek clarification from Lancet Laboratories over alleged COVID-19 erroneous results in a matter where Kiambu MP Jude Njomo's late mother tested positive for the coronavirus after tests from Lancet, only for the same sample to turn out negative at both the Nairobi Hospital Lab and National Influenza Center later.
I want to be the devil's advocate. Would the result be influenced by any outside forces by any chance?
Madam Chair, I can swear by the Quran, no, never. In fact, if you came to do the test in my lab, I might not know that you did the test in the lab until you get your results and you call me.
Lancet also admitted that there have been multiple cases where its results came out positive only for them to turn out negative at other COVID-19 certified test labs in the country.
You do get disparity between test samples that are tested at different times.
Lancet, which has its mother branch in South Africa, denied any interference from outside forces.
I want to state categorically, on my honor and my name, nobody influences our results anywhere. In fact, if anything, I do get people come to me, including very senior people, including politicians, who come and say, I want to do a test, but don't give a certain type of results. I will never do that.
Quite a damning allegation on the leaders, but the Ministry of Health is currently keen on investigating Lancet. The Ministry of Health is currently keen on investigating Lancet over various COVID-19 test anomalies, vowing to take action should it establish any systemic errors.
It is possible that anything could have gone wrong along those lines. What we also have on top of that to ensure that labs are producing the right results is we have a quality assurance system or protocols where we send samples to these labs from time to time just to check and see if they're doing the right thing. We are addressing this issue. It has come to our notice of certain labs where this is happening, and we are addressing it. We are re-evaluating those labs. If we do find that there has been some negligence, we will certainly take the necessary measures so that we don't get wrong results.
The legislators faulted Mater Hospital for failing to disclose to both the late Kiambu MP, Jude Njomo's mother, and her dependents that it had carried out a COVID-19 test, as well as breaking the news to the family and professionally.
My main objective of bringing this to the committee is to ensure that we will have systems working for the country so that no Kenyan will go through a false or an erroneous laboratory results and face the kind of consequences that any family would face going through what I went through or going through what other Kenyans have gone through when their people have been tested positive or they are not positive.
The National Assembly Health Committee will as well meet senior Ministry of Health officials next week to discuss similar matters regarding the test procedure and results for COVID-19. Seth Olale, NTV, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi County.
As Kenya registers 307 new COVID-19 patients, the highest in a day, mind you, it is also emerging that the frontliners are paying a heavy price. 186 healthcare workers have tested positive for the virus since the outbreak. Out of the 307 positive new patients confirmed today, 289 are Kenyans and 18 are foreigners. Nairobi County has recorded 154 cases, followed by Mombasa County at 38 cases. Machakos has recorded 33 cases and 50 people have been discharged, bringing the total number of recoveries to 2,089. One person has died, bringing the total number of deaths to 149.
The frontline soldiers in this war against the coronavirus pandemic have been hit hard. The Ministry of Health says it will enhance capacity in the counties to support in handling the increasing number of patients.
Since we started reporting cases, the number is 186. Out of these, 102 are females and 84 are males, giving us a positivity ratio of 2.8%. And I'm glad to report that we have not lost a single healthcare worker.
As Kenya records 307 new cases, the ministry is warning Kenyans of an increased curve trajectory. This comes in the midst of talks of steering to the reopening of the economy.
The pandemic has created a situation where we have to balance between lives, saving lives, and saving livelihoods. The containment measures have resulted in discomfort and pain to our people. The economy has been hit hard, with many Kenyans losing their means of livelihoods.
Nairobi County, Mombasa, Busia, Kisii, Taita Taveta and Uasin Gishu are the counties which have recorded increasing cases. So far, 41 out of the 47 counties have recorded cases of COVID-19. At least 600 people are on home-based care while 120 have been discharged. No patient on home-based care has passed on so far as observed by the Ministry of Health. Helen Aura, NTV.
Your child will most likely not be going back to school this September as earlier projected by the Ministry of Education, and this is based on the advice given by medical experts who say that the COVID-19 virus in the country is expected to reach its peak around the same time. NTV's education reporter Sharon Baranga with that story.
The possibility of seeing children in class in 2 months' time was the subject of discussion between education stakeholders, including the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, Kenya National Union Teachers, University Academic Staff Union, the Teachers Service Commission, among others. The answer not such an easy one to come up with, even for all these teachers.
We have also been reliably informed this morning by the doctors that the peak is likely to come in September, and by the grace of God, perhaps taper down around January. Taking all those factors into consideration, including the fact that the good government of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta has taken the children to school. Every child went to school using the 100% mop-up transition. Therefore, the children are at school and the schools are a bit congested. And that whatever is going to determine whether we open or not would depend on whether social distancing can be achieved in school.
As for the verdict,
so we have reached a consensus. It is not my place to tell you which consensus we have reached, but by Monday the 6th of this month, His Excellency the President, who is the owner of the process, will make certain pronouncements which will be advised.
Schools were closed on March 16th, 2020. Since that time, some learners have been able to continue their studies online, but a majority did not have that luxury. The one certain thing currently is that learning will resume from where students left off during the first term.
The position of the parents has been very firm that we don't open until we achieve stability, which means until the curve is flattened.
President Uhuru Kenyatta is expected to give direction concerning reopening of schools from recommendations made by the 10-member task force appointed by CS Magoha to look into the reopening of learning institutions amid the coronavirus pandemic. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Director of Public Prosecutions Nuruddin Haji says they currently cannot arrest Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino over the shooting of DJ Evolve. He has, however, pointed out that the people of Embakasi East have the option of pursuing his removal from office through a recall. Dan Mwangi, still on that beat, and tells us of the DPP's commitment on the safety of the DJ and his family.
A juxtaposition of the perpetrator and the victim. Felix Orinda, also known as DJ Evolve, lays in his bed, paralyzed. The man who shot him and left most of his body numb appears numb to the confinement he put him in, the spin that he shot into the DJ's life, the very life he almost took away.
Ile machungu ninayo, siwezi ongea.
I will dispense knowledge like I don't care.
As Embakasi East Member of Parliament Babu Owino presses on with what some call theatrics and popularity stunts.
And today, I'm Teacher Babu Owino.
Many Kenyans, in their anger and cry for justice, want the man who has been teaching online classes to learn a hard lesson offline, as they ask why he is still walking free.
Some people have said that we arrest him. We can't arrest him. He's out on bail. He has to enjoy his constitutional right.
Terrorizing Satan.
The prosecution journey so far has met some hurdles. A key one, according to the DPP, was the magistrate releasing Owino on a 10 million shillings cash bail, which Haji says was outrageous. The prosecution was still opposed to the ruling and escalated the matter.
We wrote to the CJ to complain about this unusual bail terms that he had come up with.
However, before a way forward was communicated, the COVID-19 pandemic hit and slowed down the processes at the judiciary.
Kenda Kotini, what are you hoping to get?
Justice for my kid, only that.
Over the months, politics has been drawn into the matter, with critics claiming that Babu, a member of the Orange Democratic Party, is still free because he falls on the, quote, right side of the political divide, the handshake side, end of quote. Hence, he is enjoying some sort of protection.
That is politics. And it is not my purview. Mine is to prosecute.
However, the DPP says that in this case, there are various avenues that can be used to seek justice.
His constituents, if they are aggrieved and they think that this particular matter needs to be, upscale, they can seek for his removal. You have seen what the MCAs have been doing with governors. MPs also, the constitution provides a way for their removal.
The profile of this case has raised concern on the family's safety.
I want to assure them that we will give whatever attention this case deserves. It is a matter of public interest for us also. And I think in terms of the protection, whatever protection they need to be accorded, they will be accorded.
For the next step in the journey to Felix Orinda's justice, the ball is in the judiciary's court. And in the court of public opinion, the judiciary itself is on trial. Dan Mwangi, NTV.
Thank you, Dan, for keeping that story alive. And on to one that we cannot afford to let lie. It is time now for team coverage. And tonight we're staying on Defiling Kenya, a campaign against all forms of sexual abuse and offences. Once again, viewer discretion is advised. First out is Okusa, live from Kisumu with the shocking cases of incest. Okusa?
Well, Olive, indeed, inbreeding is highly frowned upon in many cultures. But here in Kisumu, some 2 girls bear the extra shame of walking around with a growing evidence of their own father's sins. Take a look.
We found Jane, not her real name,
at a rescue center here in Kisumu. The 13-year-old is 6 months pregnant, a product of a sexual crime committed against her by her own flesh and blood. Her father.
The father is supposed to be arrested. He was supposed to be arrested yesterday, but I think he'll be arrested today.
Jane's father kept her under lock and key for several months, during which he soiled her purity.
Which means the girl would not even get sufficient food, because even when you look at her, she is emaciated. Yeah, she looks sickly.
While such may come as a shock, they are actually rampant out here. Take the case of 15-year-old Anyango, not her real name. Sometimes last year, her own father turned on her.
Akaniita kwa bedroom yake. Sasa mimi sikujua anataka nini. Kaniambia nivue mavazi nipande juu ya kitanda. Nikishapanda ndiye akanishika kwa nguvu.
Anyango will discover that a baby was growing inside her 3 months later.
Mimi niliteleza nikajipata niko usi. Sasa sijui mwenye alipeleka usi.
When this case was reported to the Gender-Based Violence Recovery Center, it was confirmed medically that the girl was pregnant. Later on, when the girl was taken to the same center at Jaramogi Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital, that pregnancy was not there, which means that this father facilitated abortion.
Attempts to find legal recourse were futile, as this is the case for many victims. Patricia Orao is an advocacy and policy leader at KMET, a Kisumu-based NGO that promotes health and education services. She says the pandemic may be contributing to the cases.
The fact that people have been locked up in their houses for a long period of time is also something that we attribute to the skyrocketing of these numbers. And so the issues are vast, and people are not getting as much income as they used to be, and that multi-sectoral approach when dealing with sexual violence, there's so many causal factors that you need to look at, and poverty, unfortunately, is still one of those. And so there's been just a number of things that have led to these numbers increasing.
Well, unfortunately, sexual abuse has also infiltrated the workplace, as Charity Mwangi found out.
Yes, Okusa, I'm sure you've heard about cases of sexual assault in the workplace. Well, for this young Nairobi woman, it began with subtle but alarming suggestions and ended up in court. The workplace is a place we spend the most time of our day. It is also a place where we try to put our best foot forward. But in that zone, at times, we attract unwanted attention from the very people whose respect we hope to earn. That attention may at times turn dangerous.
Such is the story of Mary, whose identity we have concealed.
I was sexually assaulted by a team leader at my job. Prior to that, he'd made some advances. He was responsible for recruiting and training. So it was even a running joke at the office. Whenever there were new recruits, you will know who he would pick. After their new hires, they arrange something outside the office where it will involve a lot of alcohol. I didn't attend those parties. At some point, I was almost given a warning letter because I didn't show up.
But the worst would come much later. One day, the team leader made a surprise appearance to a hangout that Mary had attended. She says she was drugged and lost consciousness, and that's when the worst happened.
When I woke up, that's when it occurred to me what was going on. I pushed him off me and started looking. I didn't even know where I was. They'd taken my clothes off, my jeans and panties. That's when I saw the other guy. So he was just standing there, doing nothing.
At the hospital, Mary would come face to face with the societal view of rape and sexual abuse.
So I walked into the doctor's room. He asked me, "Do you know who did it?" I said, "It's my 2 colleagues." And the first thing he said, "That's so bad. Kwani uliwafanyia nini?" In that moment, I just shut down.
Human resources experts say creating a safe zone is the first step to handling the problem of sexual harassment in the workplace.
First and foremost, you have to balance what I call the threshold. If it is an issue like rape, that is a criminal offense. But if it is a threshold that would probably equate to circumstances of verbal innuendos or physical touch or otherwise, then even before it goes to court, the requirement would be that the internal process is first of all exhausted before it can go to court.
Thank you, Charity. And there's still more to come on team coverage. The subject I know is heavy, so we take a break with this public service announcement campaign against sexual violence from the Nation Media Group.
The power of no to stop sexual assault is on us.
Please take a no and walk.
To protect our boys and girls.
To protect our women and men.
And the elderly. To safeguard our society.
To bring sex predators to book.
It's never the victim's fault.
The power to stand up.
And look out for each other. To step in.
To take responsibility.
To fix the law.
And stop this madness.
The power of no.
The power of no. The power of no.
The power of no.
The power of no
to sexual assault
is on us.
My whole life is in my phone.
Nairobi courts go digital. Starting July 1st, 2020, all new cases in Nairobi will be filed electronically. In line with Chief Justice David Maraga's blueprint focusing on automation of the judiciary, Nairobi courts have now adopted an e-filing system. The platform enables law firms, advocates and wananchi to file cases online. Advocates will no longer visit courts to file or banking halls to pay court fees. Starting July 1st, 2020, the following services will be available: e-case registration, e-payment, e-case search, e-calendar, e-service. All are advised that no more manual filing will be allowed in Nairobi. The e-filing system is accessible through the Judiciary website, www.judiciary.go.ke. Sustaining Judiciary Transformation, a service delivery agenda.
This is where you belong. Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optivan. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions such as Maram roads, electricity, solar street lighting, water, 24/7 security, and trees planted in every plot. Victory Gardens is close to high-end international schools, banks, shopping malls, hospitals, and much more. This is a masterpiece project. Invest in value. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke. Optivan, celebrating 20 years of serving you. Experience the difference.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels, and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
I have come to finish the thing that I started. All right. Why is it so hard for you to use your head? Do both of you have to agree with me? Because a woman in my condition, in this situation, more so when she has a gun in her hand, is not a good combination.
Sé que se puede amar.
Welcome back to Team Coverage Wednesday on Defiling Kenya. Next up is our jury correspondent, Nurdin El-Morge, with a story on how culture may be preventing justice for victims of sexual abuse.
Arba Khairan's Assistant Chief Kalmoy Shala is accused of indecent act with a minor, a 16-year-old Form 3 student at a local secondary school. Shala is out on 10,000 shilling bond, pending trial from July 2nd, should it get there. But because of cultural beliefs in this part of the country, justice may not be served, at least not through the courts. Now the community is worried.
Unafanya msijana ya mtu kitendo kimbaya na unaweka kwa dunia mzima internet, unatuba kwa internet.
Haki ya dadangu imepotezwa. Ni wiki mbili sahihi tangu hii maneno iendelee. Na sioni kuwa jukumu inachukuliwa ya kumchukulia huyo mtu hatua.
One of the reasons the chief may not step in the dock is due to the cultural way of handling such issues among northeastern Somali communities. The Maslah system of justice advocates for resolution of such disputes by the elders.
Sasa kuna wazee wanakalia tangu juzi, jana, hata leo kuhusu wanataka kufanya kienyeji, wamalize hii kesi nje ya mahakama, ndio wafanyie ya wakai kama jamii, ndio walipishe pesa.
The fact that the minor and the accused come from the same subclan within the Dogodia community may make it easier for elders to penetrate and silence divergent opinion.
Pesa mbili inalipwa. Kuna 1,200 ya ile majeraha msichana alipata, hiyo jamii wanasema pole, wanalipa 1,200. Kuna 1,600 pia ya kuharibu, inaitwa sura ya msichana ama ile tabia ambaye haiko natarajiwa kwa naibu wa chifu ambaye ni mlinda amani. Hata wazee gani wakikaa, hata ukilipa bilioni ngapi, hii kesi haitarudi.
According to the system, in an extreme situation, the local administrator might be forced to marry the girl for selling her virginity.
Hakuna kotini inaitwa kimasla. Maisha nyingi sana imeharibiwa chini ya hiyo miti ya kimasla. Sisi ni wa Kenya na tunafuata sheria ya Kenya.
Elders here say the maslah is a holistic system which is effective in reducing conflict in society.
ADR system, msichana anapata haki, either anapata mahari ama msichana na kijana unaunganishwa wawe familia moja. Wale human right umepeleka kotini na kijana amefungwa korokoroni, ni haki gani msichana amepata?
In 2019, a local high school teacher in Wajir was sentenced to 10 years for raping a minor, and now there are attempts at an appeal in order to settle the matter outside of the justice system.
But even the law isn't always a safe haven for victims sometimes, is it, Zainab?
Yes, Olive, they say the best thing about knowing the rules is finding acceptable ways of breaking them. And just you might know that the law might just be aiding and abetting sex predators. Take a look.
Mudeu's daughter was only 4 months old when the unthinkable happened. A man, known to her mother, defiled her.
After kesi kupitishwa, kijana alifungwa live imprisonment. Niliona nimepata justice kwa sababu kulingana na matokeo ya daktari na condition ya mtoto, alikuwa amevunjika miguu miwili kwa thighs, amevunjika mfupa wa thigh side zote mbili na pia na mkono na shingo.
But after serving only a few months, the offender walked free.
Nilistukia tu kuona kijana ako huru, amnatangamana na wale watu wengine kawaida na si kujua aliachiliwa aje.
The Sexual Offences Act of 2006 is said to be one of the most punitive laws on the land, with penalties varying according to the age of the victim and the nature of the offence. But oftentimes, where the law appears to have taken effect, weaknesses in the system still hinder justice.
It was on a Friday, na by Sunday jioni, the suspect tayari alikuwa released. So nikajaribu kufuatilia, kumake effort nijue what happened, na nikakuja nikafind out ya kwamba aliwapatia pesa na akarilisiwa.
Huyu pastor ananishia maisha, anasema hakuna mahali naweza mpeleka, na akishikwa anaenda anatoka na bond, na mimi sina lawyer. Hata mimi siwezi pata pesa ya lawyer.
In October 2012, 160 girls sued the Kenyan government and won a petition challenging the government's inaction on defilement. The court found that the police had neglected and failed to conduct prompt investigations, making justice a dream.
The National Police Service was not defensive. They actually did admit there have been shortfalls. And these shortfalls, as we've seen, some are attitudinal in terms of the police who carry out the investigation, but a lot of it is systemic.
Now, some say it is time to seal all the loopholes in the law.
We have the credit bureau where we know if somebody doesn't pay the debts, they are put there. So we also need such a system where we'll have the sex offenders register.
So the idea behind the castration, it's just to signify and to demonstrate the frustration that parents are having, society is having.
Kando na kuchukua hatua ya kisheria, nyundo, tupunguze hiyo joto na hiyo mbegu mbaya.
I would really plead to our judiciary system. If you have been mentioned for defilement, you are not supposed to be given a bail until your case is heard.
In the last 4 months, as the country has been battling COVID-19, more than 30% of the crimes reported were sexual offences, especially against children.
This is not the first time, though, that the proposal to have sex offenders castrated is being floated. Remember, in the original draft of the Sexual Offences Act of 2006, when it was proposed by Njoki Ndung'u, it had that clause to have sex offenders castrated, but then it received a lot of back and forth and a lot of resistance, and it was dropped. So now we wait and see if this time around that proposal will be passed through. But danger is lacking, whether it's inside the court or outside the courtroom, danger that just might be breeding a dangerous trend of sex crimes in Africa. Anita.
Zainab, I want to pose a question to you and our viewers, and let's think about it. Could it be that the increasingly sexualized content around us is corrupting our minds and behavior?
Raunchy, to say the least. In a world where access to digital devices is as easy as accessing all manner of alarming sexual content, the effect on human behavior may be manifesting itself in a disturbing sex culture. The Kenya Film Classification Board says a changing media and civilization may be cultivating a disturbing sex culture. But experts say society must reflect on the effect of the paradigm shift.
Older days, when we didn't have exposure to this kind of videos and music, is we didn't normalize sexual activities. But now the messaging is sex is normal.
Sexualized content has been there for decades. And yes, we have more access to sexualized content now. But because it has been around for so long, it doesn't mean that because it's the numbers are high.
Just a month ago, shocking explicit images and videos emerged on social media platform Instagram, showing minors engaging in obscene activities. With that in mind, Julie says change is already here with us, and we must now think of damage control through capacity building.
If we look at the education and the gaps in the education, then we'll see that sexual reproductive health is a huge gap. And as long as that gap remains there, then we're going to have teenage pregnancies, we're going to have incest, we're going to have issues around rape.
Then there's the threat of sex predators lurking online in search of easy prey. A few weeks ago, the Daily Nation published a report on how a female minor was lured into indecent sexual acts through Facebook. The Directorate of Criminal Investigation says the numbers are rising, with 300 cases reported daily at the minimum. Counselors say it is important to understand the psychology of a sex offender if one is to stop them before they pounce.
They have suffered some psychological harm. And so the act is not about the sexual satisfaction. It's about control, it's about power and asserting authority.
They would groom their audience. If it's somebody who's trying to groom a child, then they get into the mind of the child. They get into knowing what kind of things that they enjoy watching, what sort of books, what kind of music, all that kind of grouping.
Tell me and I forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I'll understand. A famous Chinese proverb that may well drive the agenda and conversation towards preventative measures now that the digital disruption is here to stay.
Well, the question still shall remain. Where do you draw the line? Back to you, Olive.
Thank you, Anita. And I wonder where you stand on that proposal to have child sex offenders castrated. Tweet us. The handle is at NTV Kenya. The hashtag is Defiling Kenya. That winds up team coverage. But now we move on to matters judiciary. In this particular instance, e-case filing. It is the hope that the slow wheels of justice can be fast-tracked with operationalization. That one is a tongue twister, Divalainia, over an e-filing registry for the judiciary. Chief Justice David Maraga spearheaded the launch today of the system, first in Nairobi Court, then gradually to Kisumu and Mombasa ahead of a nationwide implementation. The gentleman who tried to trip me up there is Dibal Ainea, and he was at that launch and has more.
Today's launch of the judiciary's e-filing registry system is a culmination of a decade-long journey begun by a task force on judicial reforms. It recommended an ICT policy and master plan be operationalized in the judiciary to ensure strategic development of ICT infrastructure and systems for present and future needs.
Increased use of ICT has been identified as a key plank in our efforts to transform the judiciary into a modern, progressive institution that is succinctly responsive to the needs of the people we serve.
The e-filing system developed by the Judiciary's Directorate of ICT is expected to significantly improve on the speed, accuracy, and efficiency of service delivery.
It is a robust system that will fundamentally change the way judicial officers and judicial staff work, as well as the way court users interface with the courts.
The system should integrate with stakeholders such as the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions, the Prisons Department, and the Probation Service when they are ready, and be able to file court documents as well as obtain and verify the authenticity of court orders from the comfort of their offices.
The benefits of e-filing cannot be overemphasized. It will lead to reduced chances of corruption, hopefully, and other related man-made challenges to the justice system.
Pilot digitalization of the system has been ongoing in phases beginning with Commercial and Tax Division of the High Court and has significantly increased the ease of doing business.
All commercial cases that are amounting to less than 1 million shillings, we don't have to to pay filing fees. That has also been waived, amongst many other fees that will continue to be relooked at by the government to see how we can make it an easy place for us to do business.
In spite of the successful launch today, CJ Maraga remains a worried man.
What the judiciary requires is some reasonable funds. If we can't get funding, this project will fall in another 1 or 2 years. The media say the CJ cries for this and that. I will continue crying for the Kenyan people.
The question will be on sustainability prospects for this capital-intensive project, which currently look bleak, and the integrity of the e-filing system from being technologically tampered with.
Well, it's all about harnessing the power of technology as an enabler of justice. Already, the judiciary has deployed 70 ICT officers to help set up cyber booths that will enable litigants access the system. Dibala Nea, NTV.
All right, we are joined now by a gentleman who I hear was integral to that process, and that is High Court Judge Fred Ochieng. He's joining us live from Kisumu, that is the county of Kisumu, where we just heard from Okokusa. Honorable Justice Ochieng, welcome to the program. You're on NTV tonight. My first question is this. The Chief Justice said this would not lock out or disenfranchise the citizens who have no access to technology. But how true is that? How have you safeguarded those individuals? Karuku, a gentleman who's been chasing his land case in the court for a very long time. How will he be able to access justice?
Thank you very much for having me on your station this evening. What we are doing is going to help that gentleman and everybody else, because we will no longer have cases of files disappearing, because everybody who files a case or against whom a case has been filed will be able to access the particulars of that case from the comfort of either their office or their home. And this, therefore, is a giant leap forwards for justice.
Okay, but then that's my question. How many people actually have access to the technology that would allow them to access the system? What provisions, what stopgap measures have you put in place for those people?
Anybody and everybody who has access to a phone, a smartphone, or can go to a cyber cafe has access to be able to file a case and to be able to serve that case once they have filed it. So it's pretty much accessible to everybody, because we know that even for the issuance of, say, ID cards, all you need to do is to go to the Huduma Center and you get the services there. That is what we are offering people. They don't have to come to court physically, delay, mix with a lot of people and so on. So it's going to make life very much easier for everybody.
All right. Was there public participation leading up to the adoption of the e-filing system? I remember what happened after the land system was digitized and lawyers came out to object to the transfer online of land documents, saying conveyancing requires their input. Have you sought out input of the stakeholders?
The beautiful thing is that from day one, when we started the pilots, we involved all other stakeholders, in particular the lawyers, the business community, Kenya Association of Manufacturers, KEPSA. Everybody came on board. We have worked backwards and forwards, and the end product is what was being launched today. So yes, there has been great public participation before the launch today.
What about, I know the Chief Justice told us or assured us of the integrity of the system, but you know Kenyans are not very trusting people. They want to know, where are the servers? If you remember the debacle of Vifaranga via computer and people asking where the IBC servers were they in Tanzania, were they in the cloud, were they in Europe? Are we sure that your systems cannot be hacked and the documents therein tampered with?
Well, Kenyans are definitely a very happy lot, and they do not like trusting. I do not know why. The truth is that we have tested it. Believe you me, we have even exposed it to the possibility of hackers, friendly hackers, and they have not managed to do it yet, to hack into the system. Once you file a case, just like the documents you bring to us in court, you will not be able to access them, to change them at will, because they'll be beyond you. If you want to apply to amend, you have got to make an application as is normal. And we have triple security systems, some in the clouds, but yes, we also have a physical server in Nairobi. You do not need to know where exactly, but we do have it.
All right, thank you. That is High Court Judge Fred Ochieng speaking to us briefly on the e-filing system adopted by the judiciary. I'm sure as we interact with it further, we'll have more questions for them, and hopefully he can give us answers once we have a better chance of understanding how it works. All right, that leads us up to our next break. But when we come back with the business news.
I'm here for small biasharas in my hood or beyond. I'm here for my customers who are sought every time they come through. Put your business on the map with Visa. Where you shop matters.
So vile nasema, wacha nikubatie statistics. Niko na gamia 1,500. Tunakuwa drapo gamia na kuwa 6,000. 2,000 natengeneza leather, natengeneza viatu, wallet, kibeti, nauza hapa, na batia wewe 50%. Wacha niweke credit nikupigie.
Namna gani wewe? Hii mambo ya kuishiwa na credit kila saa? Come on. Nunua hiyo simu ya Vodafone. Calling fiber to fiber is 0 shillings per minute. And it is not expensive. Only 2,999 Kenya shillings.
Alo hali wa. Hata fadhali hiyo credit ikae ninunue simu basi.
Faibika leo na Vodafone for only 2,999 Kenya shillings. It will always be free to call fiber to fiber.
Enjoy the naturally appealing taste of our unique fruit blends. Every sip will delight your taste buds as they explode with flavor. It's only natural you invite your family and friends to your kind of world. An exciting world of 6 different flavors to pick from. Represent who you naturally are with Juice Drink. Naturally ours with no added preservatives. A quality product from Bidco Africa.
Time to look at what's happening in business. The government has launched the Tourism and Travel Health and Safety Protocols in a bid to provide a harmonized approach to the hospitality industry's reaction to COVID-19. The pandemic, which has ravaged the tourism industry, has now led to a global collaborative effort to revive the sector, as Lilian Kiari reports.
The tourism sector is among the hardest hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. With international travel restrictions and cessation of inter-county movement, which is causing tourists to retract their travel plans, many facilities have been forced to close down due to dried up revenues. So far, the pandemic has led to the loss of 2 million jobs in the tourism industry in Kenya. Players in the tourism industry have welcomed the launch of the Tourism and Travel, Health and Safety Protocols.
It's now a reality that the virus could become endemic, and we must all be prepared to live with it and resume normalcy under the prevailing circumstances as global efforts to find vaccines continue. Our country is safe for travel, and Kenyans need to understand this.
The 45-page document details the diverse protocols that will ensure service provision at tourist sites meets the World Health Organization's guidelines and Kenya's Ministry of Health measures to curb the spread of COVID-19.
We now know that it is possible to conduct your business as long as you are within and operate within certain measures. We now know that it is possible to have a meeting like this one if you can keep your distance, if you can wear a mask.
It is hoped that the protocols will give tourists the confidence to do what they do best, which is to travel, to explore new lands and quench their wanderlust.
Travel and tourism to join forces to plan a coordinated approach together with the governments and health experts to ensure the speed and effective recovery once the crisis is stabilized.
Kenya has received a vote of confidence from the World Travel and Tourism Council.
Take this opportunity to congratulate Kenya, the government of Kenya, Minister Balala, and the entire private sector for implementing protocols.
Earnings from the tourism sector have already dropped from the 160 billion shillings, which was recorded previously, to about 80 billion shillings this financial year. Now, CS Balala says the country will be lucky to record even about 300,000 international visitors in this financial year. Lilian Kiarie, NTV.
At the launch of the 5-year National Youth Service Strategic Plan, Kenneth Gwantai was feted by Joe Musharu, the Cabinet Secretary for ICT, Innovation and Youth, for his technological innovations. Here is Alex Mwangi with a look at his innovations for the transport sector.
There are more than 1 million youth in Kenya alone who use manual handcarts to earn a living daily. Operating a mkokoteni is a manual, back-breaking task that only leaves operators drowning in their own sweat, but poses significant risks of long-term injury to the muscles and bones.
That formed the basis for Kenneth Gwantai's development of this motorized handcart.
If you are carrying around of 500 kg, for example, you don't feel the weight because you don't push, you don't pull, you just drive and control it.
Gwantai has also invested his skills and resources in developing this electric tuk-tuk.
It is a very quiet tuk-tuk. Tell us about that.
Yeah. The tuk-tuk is quiet because it is using a motor to drive it. And motors are very quiet, and that is its engine. It is called a transaxle DC motor. This motor is powered by batteries. And the beauty with the tuk-tuk we have, whereby a tuk-tuk can be able to tap motion from the moving rear wheels, convert it from kinetic energy to electric energy and recharge it on batteries in an in-blind cycle.
A key feature of the silent tuk-tuk is the fact that all materials used to build it are sourced locally.
We are using currently steel on this, stainless steel on this, but as we move forward, we will be able to diversify based on the customization of the customer. Some of them will be manufactured using fiberglass, others will be manufactured even using wooden wood to make it environmentally friendly.
If all goes according to plan, this electric tuk-tuk and the motorized handcart are going to be eventually mass-produced, which means that their unit cost is going to come down and hence will be affordable to many Kenyans.
It was discussed in Parliament in 2017, and they accepted that once we start mass production, they will give us what we call an assembler certificate to enable you to assemble these at low cost. For now, we are anticipating the cost to be around 400,000 Kenya shilling to around 500,000 Kenya shilling, again depending on the model of the tuk-tuk.
It is hoped that the youth will take up innovation as one of their skills in order to create jobs, although instilling it in them is not a straightforward affair. The NYS strategic plan for 2019 to 2023 was initially planned for release last year.
We are going forward.
Alex Mwangi, NTV.
ICEA Lion Insurance Holdings has entered into an agreement with Leapfrog Strategic Africa Investments, which will see Leapfrog acquire a 24% shareholding in ICEA Lion. The deal will enable ICEA Lion to gain leverage to access the vast capabilities of both Leapfrog and Prudential Financial. The deal is still subject to a number of regulatory approvals. The investment in ICEA Lion will be made by Eastern Africa Holdings, a special purpose entity owned by Leapfrog Strategic Africa Investments. A partnership between Leapfrog Investments and US-based Prudential Financial in 2016 led to the establishment of Leapfrog Strategic Africa Investments. The government has invested over 200 million shillings to upgrade a fish training facility in Sagana, Kirinyaga County with a view to introduce the concept of aquaponic farming. Aquaponic farming is a technique that incorporates fish farming with the farming of other agricultural products. Fisheries Chief Administrative Secretary Jebi Kilimo says the training will involve breeding of fish in greenhouses with minimal use of water and without the need of fish ponds. Kilimo, who toured the facility, said the government has partnered with various technical and vocational education and training institutions to certify students once they're through with the program.
Na kwa sababu mashamba zinaendelea kukua kidogo katika nchi yetu na unakuta watu wanaishi kwa apartments ama wanaishi kwa boma plot hivi, tunataka kuona ya kwamba hata ukiwa kwa hiyo plot yako unaweza kupata chakula ambaye itakusaidia nutrition ama pia kwa kibiashara. Na vile tunapeleka kwa institution ni kwa sababu pia tungependa kuwaonyesha wanafunzi ambao bado wako shuleni njia mbadala ya kufanya biashara ama ya kujiajiri.
That's it for the business news leading up to our next break. But when we come back with Baba.
I'm here for small biasharas, in my hood or beyond. I'm here for my customers, Kuwa sort every time they come through. Put your business on the map with Visa. Where you shop matters.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Hello, I'm Captain Cargo,
your guide at Kenya Ports Authority today. I'm here to help you navigate through all the shipping and cargo processes at the Port of Mombasa with utmost ease. So, if you want to know about our marine and cargo services and tariffs we charge, if you want to learn more about the cargo clearance processes for imports and exports, or if you're interested in our customer service standards, I'm Captain Cargo, always happy to show you the ways of the Port of Mombasa. For questions and to discover more, visit me at www.kpa.co.ke/Captain Cargo.
If you don't live in a cave like me, you may have seen a video showing ODM party leader Raila Odinga saying that he's doing much better after a medical procedure. This video was posted on social media by Odinga's daughter, Winnie, with a caption that started off with the line, "And we're back." This was misinterpreted that the former Prime Minister is back in Kenya. He has been receiving treatment in Dubai, where he still is.
All right. Dad. Everybody was talking like you're in ICU. How are you feeling?
No, I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
Great.
Feeling strong?
I feel very strong and rejuvenated.
Yeah.
It feels great really to be out of hospital and breathe fresh air.
Yeah. Be dancing for us soon.
Yes. I think I'll be doing my usual jigs very soon.
Yeah.
But I want to thank all my friends, my supporters, all our youths who have sent me so many messages of goodwill. It has just been amazing, and it's just wonderful. It makes you recover so fast. That's why I'm up and about right now.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Dad.
Baba is back, and as he said, he'll be back to doing his usual jigs in no time. We'll be coming back with Ida Waringa with the sports next.
Nairobi courts go digital. Starting July 1st, 2020, all new cases in Nairobi will be filed electronically. In line with Chief Justice David Maraga's blueprint focusing on automation of the judiciary, Nairobi courts have now adopted an e-filing system. The platform enables law firms, advocates and wananchi to file cases online. Advocates will no longer visit courts to file or banking halls to pay court fees. Starting July 1st, 2020, the following services will be available: e-case registration, e-payment, e-case search, e-calendar, e-service. All are advised that no more manual filing will be allowed in Nairobi. The e-filing system is accessible through the Judiciary website, www.judiciary.go.ke. Sustaining Judiciary Transformation, a service delivery agenda.
This is where you belong. Victory Gardens Kitengela by Optivan. This gated community is fully developed, filled with ultra-modern value additions such as Maram roads, electricity, solar street lighting, water, 24/7 security, and trees planted in every plot. Victory Gardens is close to high-end international schools, banks, shopping malls, hospitals, and much more. This is a masterpiece project. Invest in value. Call us today on 0790 300 300 or visit www.optivan.co.ke. Optivan, celebrating 20 years of serving you. Experience the difference.
COVID-19 waste disposal tips. Separate or segregate the waste at source. Use biomedical waste bin liners. Use licensed NEMA biomedical waste handlers for transportation. Use dedicated vehicle to collect COVID-19 waste. In rural areas, disinfect the COVID-19 waste before disposal.
It is important to note that proper waste management is an essential public duty in the fight against COVID-19.
NEMA, mazingira yetu, uhai wetu, wajibu wetu.
I have come to finish the thing that I started. Oh, all right. Why is it so hard for you to use your head? Do both of you have to agree with me? Because a woman in my condition in this situation, more so when she has a gun in her hand, is not a good combination.
Sé que se puede amar.
A very good evening to you. Time to play here on NTV Sport. 2016 World Under-20 10,000 meters champion Rogers Kwemoi has spoken of the challenges he's facing as an athlete due to the coronavirus pandemic. Well, Kwemoi was poised to make a debut in marathon with plans set for him to run in the Lisbon half marathon in March. But the race was cancelled due to COVID-19. The soft-spoken athlete was in the Kenyan team for the 2019 World Championships in Doha, where he finished fourth. He has now set his sights on representing the country in the 10,000 meters at the Tokyo Olympics. With air travel cancelled in the country, Kwemoi has been unable to travel back to Japan, where he has been contracted by the Asian Kogyo corporate team since 2015. The athlete now trains in Eldoret and also concentrates on dairy farming.
Nilikuwa well prepared kwenda kukimbia half marathon, lakini fortunately ikakanseliwa sababu ya COVID-19. Mazoezi imekuwa hard time kwangu sababu nilikuwa nimezoea group work, but sasa hii nafanya mwenyewe hapa, but nachekakamua.
All the best to Kwemoi there. Well, it will be West versus East as Chelsea and West Ham face off in the London Derby in Wednesday's final English Premier League match. Last night, Manchester United won 3-0 at Brighton to stay in the hunt for a top 4 finish. Bruno Fernandes capped a fine individual performance with 2 goals, with Mason Greenwood also on target. Having stretched their unbeaten run in all competitions to 15 games, United climbed back into 5th place on 52 points from 32 games, 2 behind 4th place Chelsea, who have a game in hand. In earlier matches tonight, Arsenal took on Norwich, that game ending Arsenal 4, Norwich 0, and Everton are 2-1 winners over Leicester City, and AFC Bournemouth fell 1-4 to Newcastle United. Those Arsenal goals coming courtesy of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, a double, Granit Xhaka, and of course Cedric Soares. Let's move to Spain in the Spanish La Liga now, where Villarreal will be away to Real Betis at 11 p.m. with 3 matches currently underway. Last night, Barcelona gave up more ground to Real Madrid in the title race after being held to a 2-2 draw at home to 3rd place Atletico Madrid. Barca scored through a Diego Costa own goal and Lionel Messi's goal that was his 700th for club and country. Saul Niguez scored twice for Atleti from the spot to ensure the points were shared. Barca stays second in the standings on 70 points, and leaders Real Madrid, who have 71, will go 4 points clear with 5 games left if they beat Getafe at home on Thursday.
Against Ter Stegen. And Ter Stegen so nearly saved it.
The ball, and he went driving the ball, went forward.
Italy now, where 3rd placed Inter Milan are currently facing lowly Brescia, looking to extend their unbeaten run in the Serie A to 4 matches, as well as narrow the 7-point gap to 2nd place Lazio. Last night, Juventus secured a 3-1 win at lowly Genoa to stay 4 points clear at the top of the standings. The result was thanks to a solo goal by Paulo Dybala, a long-range rocket stunner from Cristiano Ronaldo and an exquisite curling shot by Douglas Costa. Juve have 72 points from 29 games, with Lazio on 68 after their 2-1 win at Torino earlier on Tuesday night. Genoa stayed 17th with 26 points, 1 point and 1 place above the relegation zone, but having played a game more than the bottom three.
And beyond the Genoa goalkeeper before he's got time to react.
Well, they call it sports, arts and culture for a reason, so it's only right that we celebrate this one. Kenyan filmmakers Wanjiru Njendo and Tony Kamau are among over 800 artists and executives who have been invited to join the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The full list of the new Oscar members who will be able to vote at future ceremonies has made good of the body's promise to diversify membership. Tony is a Kenyan content producer behind the documentaries I Am Samuel and Softy, while Wanjiru is an award-winning filmmaker of Kenyan descent based in Los Angeles, whose latest short film, Boxed, has enjoyed international success. The two join 3 other Kenyan women filmmakers in the Oscars jury, Judy Kibinge, Wanuri Kahio, and Lupita Nyong'o. Massive congratulations to them. That does it on sports, arts and culture. Back to Olive.
Thank you, Ida. And that is a good note on which to end the bulletin tonight. That's it for NTV Tonight. Our sign language interpreter has been David Agundoa. Please do not go anywhere because NTV is your channel of choice.